and this elicited great debate last week, the ruling by the High Court to allow the LGBT form an association to champion their rights. And the question has now come in that on one hand, the courts talked about the basic rights to congregate, to come together, to champion for whatever agenda it is. But when the basis of that is then quote-unquote an illegality, as has been said in some quarters, that on one hand in Kenya that is not recognized, so to then come and allow for these associations to be is questionable. And David Oginde, who's a bishop with CITAM, says hopefully by association of any kind, the judges meant associations whose pursuits are legally permitted. Otherwise, the courts may as well order the registration of the Association of Drug Dealers of Kenya or the Coalition for Rapists of Kenya. Professor, your thoughts on this issue?
It's a dicey issue because you have two contrasting points of view. The basic rights of everybody and the social rights of everybody. Then it's something that needs to be properly thought out. The court made its ruling, but that's only one level of the court. And
do you agree with the court's ruling?
I would need to read more about it to see exactly what is going on before passing judgment here and there. I know there is an appeal that's coming up, and how will the Supreme Court eventually deal with it, because it has to be dealt with at that level to make to give the guidance on this thing. And Ambrose here being the lawyer, he might be able to shed better light on this thing.
Ambrose, will come to you. Not recognized in our constitution, but association being allowed to guard on the Bill of Rights. So how do you
I think the
balance
court
the two?
was fairly being overzealous. The first mention of our constitution is God. You understand? Recognizing and appreciating that we are God's people. That is the first. Then the people. These are the rights that are enshrined in the Constitution are on the basis that you will be pursuing a legal and moral pursuits. It would not be some cataclysmic imaginations or things we learn from here and there. And as a Christian, I'll tell you, we are all, myself and Professor here and him, we are made in the image of God or Allah. And we are meant to come here to multiply in terms of getting more babies, multiplying our resources, being better. And that cannot come in through all sorts of actions or behavior that is a form of sickness. So a court trying to allow people to associate as gay is a mistake. If they said we are either tall people or medium-sized people or brown people or yellow people, fine. But gayism, lesbianism, all sorts of sexual, psychopathic nature is not legal. So I think the judge was being overzealous to say we are expanding rights, but you don't expand rights in the wrong direction. In a country like Kenya, you can expand them somewhere in Los Angeles. But here in Kenya, we have certain parameters because a society has to move in a given direction.
And the deputy,
Yes.
president saying they have no place in Kenya. Your thoughts, Senator?
In fact, one argument by Ambrose Weda captures my intervention on this matter. Since the time I was at the KNCHR, I never articulated the LGBTI rights. And I said it very, very sincerely, that I have rights too as a person. And my freedom of worship, of my freedom of conscience, forbids me to be complacent in terms of what the Quran says or what, for instance, the Bible says. So I see this general tendency of these things being rubbed into some people's throats. And if let's say today I stand up and say, because I do not recognize certain rights, you'll be called a homophobe. There's all this jargon that is being developed, particularly by some of these rights activists around that domain. I have been very categorical since I said it in an international platform, and everybody told me, then you're not a true human rights defender. Then I said, so be it. But because also I need to be defended in terms of my right to worship, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience. It's all there articulated in the Constitution. And if I believe in Islam, and whether believes in Christianity or Professor believes in Christianity, and Christianity says thou shalt not be gay, Why would you want to rub it in his throat to accept that there is something called
So
gay?
in your opinion, the court erred?
For me, I think the court is overstretching its imagination. What happens is, Kenya must realize first and foremost, we have enacted a liberal constitution. Our constitution is a liberal constitution. And the courts have exercised what is called judicial activism, which is a fair enough deal in terms of trying to bust the parameters of jurisprudence. And therefore, I think once in a while we will be shocked by some of the decisions the courts will make. And I think that's now with the contestation. Even the United States, where we believe it's a society that has made 200 years of progress, democratic progress. It could be progress in many other ways. Some might not be progress, it might be regress. So I think what happens is they are still battling these things out in the Supreme Court of the Republic, of the United States.
Yeah.
So for even here, I do not think you must expect Sophia or Michael to come and say, yeah, we are gay rights activists. It's not fair. So even in the United States, there is the conservative group of people, and they continue to preserve a certain area which they call public morality. And there's the liberal groups. Therefore, the liberal groups have their articulation about what they believe, and we have an articulation about the conservative nature of our society.
All right.